In the lean world, we all know that before making improvements, we need to understand and study the current process. This is very familiar to many lean aficionados and lean experts. Before one develops the future state of any process, you need to walk the process. You need to lay it out, define it specifically, study it, and see the waste in the current state. So I always wondered, why don't we take that same approach in developing the future state of the business itself via strategic planning, by first analyzing the current state of the business, seeing the waste, and then developing the future state. Now, I understand that this type of thinking goes against the grain, and some people, perhaps quality management folks, management representatives, might be a little bit uncomfortable with this idea in the first place. But I challenge you to open your minds to this mentality, because what we're trying to do is saying, hey, let's not take a management review process and do it all in one big old batch at the end of a quarter or at the end of a year. Let's break it up into smaller bits and pieces so that communication flows and action is taking place all the time. Let's start with the requirements of management review in a typical quality management system. This requirement is: top management shall review the organization's business management system at planned intervals to ensure its continuing suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness. Well, essentially what this is saying is that this is the current state of the business. That's what management review is really all about. Now, ideally, there should be an intermediate step between the current state and the future state. Now, to get to the future state, we take this intermediate step of doing a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis, many of you may be familiar with a SWOT analysis. I like to show it like this, as SWOT. SWOT means the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. And that's what kicks off the Hoshin Kanri process, which then brings us back to deploying actions and communicating those actions throughout the entire organization. What does it not state? It does not state the frequency of these management reviews. This is important to understand, especially when you start thinking about the lean mindset. So we need to look at the management review process as another process that may contain waste, and we need to attack that waste and get rid of that waste. I don't see any conflict with this agenda and Lean's agenda. Lean's trying to do the same thing. So let's look at the relationship between the Lean topics and the agenda itself. So results of audits, as an example. Well, that could be the results of Gemba walks. That could be the results of doing our leader standard work. And finally, of course, we have recommendations for improvement. And those we have quick and easy Kaizens. So you see that the standard management review agenda and the Lean topics and the Lean cultural elements fit in together very well. It is a step-by-step planning, implementation, and review process for managed change. Very important that it's managed change. Now, what are the benefits of Hoshin Kanri? Well, it allows us to move beyond the status quo to make major performance improvements. A, plan, do, check, act. They're planning their actions. The plans are right there. There are the actions. They're going to go ahead and do them. They're going to check the results within the value streams, and they're going to act upon them. And the cycle continues on, continuous improvement, until they achieve their goals, which will achieve the objectives, which will achieve the strategy, which will be aligned with the mission statement and the overall policy. Now, from the big picture standpoint, we also want to do P, D, C, A. These actions are reviewed continuously at the daily accountability meetings, and improvements based on the actions are made in the business management system. And therefore, we have the linkage, once again, between Lean and a typical business management system. So with management reviews structured to suit your specific Lean-centric needs and not those of an outside auditor, and with the use of the current state management review process and the SWOT analysis to identify strengths and weaknesses or wastes, opportunities and threats, the process of Hoshin Kanri policy deployment is so much stronger and much more effective than ever before.